All right, so at the debate, we saw that Trump refused to condemn white supremacy. And instead, he called for armed fascist gangs to stand by on election night. He promised that things would get ugly and that the election would not end well. He again made it clear that he will not accept the results of the election. Judging by his rhetoric and actions in Portland and elsewhere, he plans to call his armed supporters out into the streets and assemble a hand-picked military force to use against anyone who protests his rule. His promise that the election will not end well is a promise he intends to keep. President Trump sought out the assistance of foreign nations like Russia and the Ukraine to help him win the election, and the House impeached him for that. Now he intends to overthrow our democracy with or without the help of Vladimir Putin. He has shown no respect for Congress, the Constitution, the courts, or the rule of law. Now, in an act of hypocrisy, the Republicans are pushing through a Supreme Court nominee before the election so that Trump can rely on the court to enable him to consolidate power. We cannot rely on the Supreme Court, our politicians, or the military to protect our democracy. We must stand up and defend the Constitution and fight for democracy ourselves. We must be prepared to force this president from office when he refuses to honor the results of the election. The president has little chance of prevailing at the polls. At the same time, he has no intention of stepping down. President Trump is doubling down on his racist and divisive tactics to stoke conflict in order to justify the use of military force to put down protests against him. There is no scenario where this election ends well. We are asking everyone to be prepared to defend democracy and to refuse to accept a fascist America. Refuse Fascism will be organizing daily events for marches and organizing activities to prepare the people for the inevitable need to force Trump from power when he refuses to leave. Fighting fascism is not fun. But if President Trump refuses to leave and calls out his armed supporters and personal military force instead, we must be prepared to stand strong to save our democracy. This is why Refuse Fascism is organizing daily actions, starting here in Hollywood today and around the nation.